running for Irving City Council, District 3, where we all live. It's south of 114, west of Beltline, and south until Rock Island, so the train tracks. I'm a father and a husband who lives on Cheyenne between Rochelle and Northgate. You might have seen me running down Cheyenne to Irving Mall. I try to do that in the mornings. I take my family, my wife, my third grader, and also our Great Pyrenees to Northwest Park, so you might have seen us around there as well. We enjoy the park. I come with 2 decades of experience managing multi-million-dollar budgets, complex organizations. I'm currently a nonprofit executive, and part of my executive training includes being certified from Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, Stanford's Graduate School of Business, Cornell's S.C. Johnson School of Business, and also Georgetown's McCord School of Public Policy. Over there, we discuss nonprofit and also the public sector. I've had colleagues from all over the world come join me for these programs, including a Nobel Prize winner when I was at Stanford. And I intend to bring all of my knowledge and all of my experience to help make Irving a better place for all of us as residents. My focus is on the little things, the little details that sometimes get overlooked. So when we do major projects, for example, if we look at the Road to the Future program, which is a wonderful program that we have in our city, from 2017, it's a 10-year, $200 million program. When we end up having reconstruction, we end up updating the sewage, for example, for certain roads, when I speak with residents, they say, those big construction vehicles ended up going through my neighborhood, and they messed up our little street, even though that big one was there. And so these things end up being overlooked. The little details, like the short-term rentals, which are overlooked. The little details, like the young man who my son saw going around the area in the neighborhood and said, how come he gets to ride without a helmet? How come he gets to do that when you force me to ride with a helmet? And I have to tell him that that's not right, that that's inappropriate. But we aren't tracking these complaints. And so my first of 5 priorities is neighborhoods that feel cared for. And what is an example of that? The sidewalks, right? I was speaking with a young runner who runs just like me, and he says, I'm always looking down, afraid that my ankle's going to break, because of the bumpiness of our sidewalks. I spoke with an elderly couple a couple days ago when I was knocking on their door, and you know what they told me? They said, we stopped walking in our neighborhood. We actually drive to the mall. I said, how sad is that? Why? He said, we just can't traverse our neighborhood. And these are the unfortunate outcomes that we have from those little details that are being overlooked. And so I would be a proponent of 311 complaint data being made public. If we have 120 complaints, for example, how many of them are being addressed on a month-to-month basis? Let's be open, let's be transparent with our residents to show progress and the effectiveness of our city government. My second goal has to do with public safety. It's a concern for us all, but rather than having a reactive, punitive approach, let's see how we can be proactive. Sometimes it's city design. Where is lighting lacking? Where are those corners where people can feel unsafe? And how can we address that as a city? My third priority has to do with parks and recreation. So we go to Northwest. We love going to Northwest. My son's a cub. He's a bear, so he's a third grader. I'm the PAC committee chair for our PAC. So we're used to the heat. But honestly, we can't go to that park in the summer because there's barely any shade. So we're there with our sun hoodies, and we're there with our sunscreen. And so for us as a city to see tree canopy as essential infrastructure, for us to look at the houses like other cities have done and said, let's do a walkability study and let's see where our residences are, how far they are, and how many roads you have to cross to get there, and how can we make it easier? Because studies show that when people spend just 15 minutes in nature, they have better mental health, they're less likely to have depression, and they also decrease their anxiety. We need more of that in our city. And again, it's great as an infrastructure, it's just a little bit better, those little tweaks. My fourth priority has to do with kids and youth. You've sometimes seen them roaming around at night after sunset, right? You see a group of teenagers, they're crossing Beltline, they're going up, whereabouts. So having extended rec center hours of our public facilities. I'm not just talking about after school, because the resident told me, well, we have our after school and summer programming. And again, that's excellent. The city's doing a great job. But how can we level it up? How can we improve it a little bit more? And that's why extending it even more or partnering with nonprofits, because studies show that when youth are engaged in productive activities or programming, they're 10 to 30% less likely to be caught in juvie trouble. And the fifth and final priority has to do with housing and home ownership. Now, I'll mention We have a HUD-funded, a federal grant that gives us down payment assistance that's interest-free. Well, most of our teachers or firefighters, they make too much to even qualify for it. Second of all, and it's been requested before, I'm not the first one, we don't have any public data. How many people are applying? How many people are being accepted? How much funds have been dispersed? How many new homeowners do we have? We need accountability. We need more of that. The second program has to do with those who are already living, whose roofs are falling apart. It's beautiful that our houses were built, mine as well, in the 60s. But roofing, electrical, plumbing, and those are expensive. There are a couple widows who are on fixed income just down Cheyenne from where I live, and if something happens, they can't afford $5,000 or $10,000. So we already have a program in the city of Irving, but again, being public about the data regarding that. 2 more minutes, thank you. And then lastly, in terms of home ownership and housing, we have a lot of renters. Over 60% of our residents in the city of Irving are renters. However, the constant complaint that I hear from residents is, I have a major issue where I'm living. The drain is leaking everywhere. It's affecting the inhabitability of that. But I called code enforcement, like others have said, and nothing gets done. So again, having that transparency, how many complaints are we getting? And are we actually going to enforce to make sure that all of our residents have a base standard of living? Because we don't want Irving to end up with a bunch of slumlords, because we know what that's going to do to our quality of life. So my platform is focused on the day-to-day that we as residents experience and how we can take our great city and make it a little bit better. Thank you so much, and I hope you can vote for me.